Or that,
The one that's knocked down?
yes.
I think they're on campus right now. I saw them digging over on
This one further
Elizabeth
down.
Street. I don't know if they're going to do this light today, but there's
Okay.
major contractor presence here.
All right, and what happened with the person that was in the accident?
I don't have any information on the crash.
You were there.
Cookie,
Anybody
We
know
ca-
what happened to the person that was in the accident and why it occurred?
I'm not aware that anyone was hurt. As far as I know, none of the people who knocked that light down were residents.
Aha,
That's subject to confirmation, but in most cases, youngsters zipping along too fast. Donald may have
Texting.
some more information on that.
all right, because I've got a video on it.
All right. Anything else for law enforcement? Welcome, of course, to our security meeting this afternoon. Thank you. I have not announced. The signed-in delegate count is 132. We do not have a quorum. That means that a bit of business we needed to do today cannot be done. Major Seacrest landscaping contract to be voted on. So before we have the treasurer's report, there's no need, I mean, you came out, you might as well get the information we have. I'd like to give our county commissioner, District 2, the Honorable Paulette Burdick. Would you have a few words you'd like to say to us?
Good morning. I am Paulette Burdick, your County Commissioner, and I'm delighted to be here with you all this morning. I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for continuing to provide the quality law enforcement to you all. A couple weeks ago, I was in the village, and you might have seen all the trucks. Good morning. They were doing training exercises. Not only are they here doing their job, but the sheriff has them going through extensive training, and they had all their dogs out there, the variety of them. So thank you for allowing them to be here to do the training so that all the officers are very familiar with the community. I have 7 months left as your county commissioner. I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve you. You've been wonderful residents. You continue to advocate on all of your needs. You do a wonderful job with taking care of each other. I would just ask you to remember to always be kind to your neighbors. Be that person that steps up, steps forward, and be that CERT champion as we enter the storm season. Begin to prepare now. What I always do is I take my orange juice bottles and I rinse them out. And then I dry them and I store them so that I don't have to go to the store and carry those large jugs of water. Start preparing now. Get ready for the storm season. It doesn't matter what they project. Like David said, it only takes one storm to make a tremendous impact on all of us here. Now that I am leaving, I've done a lot of soul searching. Because you all, in entire District 2, and the entire county means a great deal to me. I looked at all the candidates seriously, reviewed them all, spoke to them all, and I have decided to endorse one candidate. And that's Alex Garcia. Alex, would you stand up, please? I'm asking that you get to know the young man, and that in August, you cast your vote for Alex Garcia. And in closing, I want to acknowledge Peyton MacArthur in the back. Peyton? And with him is Quantavis Alexis. Quantavis Alexis is probably in the back there. I know he's in the back there because he came with Peyton. He is my student intern from Forest Hill Community High School, And I'm pleased to say that Quantavius will be graduating from high school this year. So we're all very thrilled for him and his parents. Be well, be kind, and thank you for your years of caring. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Commissioner. Peyton brought a number of these latest brochures on county services, 2018. We will soon have about 500 of them over in Yuko for those who would like hard copy. All right? They're very informative brochures. Every time I read it, I find out something about the county I didn't know. So come get a hard copy. I think now we will hear from Ed and Sebastian, Treasurer's Report.
Good morning, everyone. All right, so in your package, you should have the reports for February 2018. I just wanted to mention a few notes. For the accounts receivable, the majority of the accounts receivables were all paid within the quarter. The few that paid the wrong amount were all sent letters, which I had said at the last meeting. The next thing I wanted to note is that for investigations, I added something on page number 2 to separate the investigations on what was collected and what was spent. So far, we're able to cover the investigation costs with all the investigation fees. For the next delegate meeting, as we close out the first quarter, we're going to be adding one more report change. It's going to be adding a column to show what the year-to-date spent. This will show where we stand against the annualized budget, so that way we'll be able to see what we've spent and what we still have for the remaining of the year. So far for February 2018, we were within budget. The comparisons between February 2018 and February 2017 were relatively in line. The only difference would obviously be the account 7400 irrigation expense, which also includes landscaping now. The last thing that I wanted to mention is at last month's meeting, we discussed looking into CDs for the reserve funds. We confirmed that CDs are FDIC insured, and we talked about that having multiple accounts all over the place would create an administrative nightmare. So after doing some research, Mr. Black and I found out that there's something called Certificate of Deposit Registry Services offered at major banks, BB&T, Bank of America, Bank United. And basically what it does is it allows one bank to handle all of the funds and spread them out against other accounts. The difference is between what we have now and what this is that instead of spreading it around to just normal checking accounts, they would be spreading it around to CDs. I wrote down some notes for the rates. For 6-month CDs, they're anywhere between 1.5% and 1.8%, which would, if we took $3.5 million and put it into a CD ladder, would be about $57,000 a year in additional revenue. And for the staggered, for the ones that would be the 1-year CDs, the rates are about 2% plus. That would bring in about $70,000 a year. Basically, what we would do is, or propose, would be over a 4-month period, we would stagger all the CDs so that way we would always have one coming due if we ever needed funds. We would also keep, I put $1 million available on hand just in case if there was an emergency that we needed to access those funds. Number 2, we've received our draft audit. We're reviewing it now, and we should have a copy at the next meeting. And the last thing from the last delegates meeting was the copier lease. We have quotes to bring down the cost down to $700 a month. We're looking to try to save even further on that amount. We believe the savings will be around $9,600 to $15,600 a year. So it's definitely something to look forward to. And for the CDs, the draft audit, and the copier lease, I hope to have a proposal for the next delegate meeting for everyone to hear. Are there any questions? Good morning.
Olga Walkenstein, Northampton R. Sebastian, no offense to you personally, but you were hired because we didn't have a treasurer. We now have a treasurer. Is there any reason why you're still working and we are paying for your salary?
Yes. So if you take a look at what it costs to have an administrative staff to handle the items that the treasurer would delegate to some sort of bookkeeper, something that you guys have had for a long time in the past, I believe our costs are relatively comparable to that, and we offer, I believe, a much more advanced service to where I hope that everyone is seeing that you get maybe more out of it by having me do it versus a bookkeeper or someone that, you know, if you were to hire a part-time bookkeeper to come in, they would probably cost maybe the same. There's issues if they find another job, if something happens, they're sick, they can't come in, where by hiring a firm, you have multiple people available to come in. You have the services of a CPA without necessarily paying a CPA rate every single minute of every working day. So I think that the cost is relatively comparable, and I think you get a lot out of it.
Thank you. Your salary replaces the administrative staff, and it's basically, according to what you're saying, on par with or similar to. In other words, there is no big difference between the two in salary.
I don't believe that there is a major difference, and I think that if you were to take into account, you know, payroll tax, all the different things that would come with that, I think that it's probably in line with that same cost.
Thank you very much, Sebastian.
You're welcome.
Jack?
Good morning. Jack Adams, Coventry K.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning, Sebastian. So I'm here following up about the questions that I previously asked at the January 5th Delegate Assembly and my emails to you on February 9th and February 21st, to which I've never received the courtesy of a reply.
I think at the last meeting I had printed the email, and I think we had gone over it, and then I think I had a meeting with, not sure if it was you or if there was another gentleman
No,
that
was it-
following Thursday.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, to go
Maybe I
over
have a
that.
double, maybe I have a double out there.
If you'd like, would you like to come in on this Tuesday or Thursday and
No,
we could
sir,
go
I'd
over
like-
it?
No, sir. I'd like answers now because, you know, you never answered my emails, and, you know, the questions are pretty direct and pretty simple. You know, can you please tell us when UCO first began paying the broadcasting fee, and is UCO paying this fee itself rather than passing it on to the management companies to have it reimbursed by the various 309 associations? You know, is that a complicated question?
No, I did answer these questions at the last meeting, and I said
No,
that
you
any
didn't, sir.
fee that was charged from the cable company has to be passed down to the association. So whatever the fee is, of course, it's going to be spread out across the 309 associations.
So the $3,628,800,000 that's in the budget for this year, that includes the broadcasting fee?
Any of the fees that we believe that we're going to pay to the cable provider are included in the budget. I don't know why I would have two separate numbers. I put in there what I believe that we would be paying out.
On what date do you become contractually engaged with UCO?
I don't have an exact date, but I believe it was the end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter, 2017.
Was it before June 2nd? Was it in March? What month was it?
I believe it may have been March or April.
Okay, so were you ever asked to prepare a cost analysis of the Atlantic Broadband Comcast proposals?
I did not prepare anything related to
You were
those
never
proposals.
you were never asked to do so. Did you ever do a cost analysis or fact check of the cost analysis prepared by Ed Black and David Israel?
I believe that any of the proposals, or I believe the quotes and the discussions may have already happened, but I'm not sure.
The answer to that is no. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions for Sebastian?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, delegates and board. I'll try to keep this simple. I just want to know who pays. Lately, we've had the witch ditch coming down by Canterbury and Kent Street on North Drive, and we've had a sprinkler damage. We've had water go out. I've had cable and power go out for a full day. Cable went out last week, and it's been a mess over there. We had a real big flood, and Palm Beach County Water Utility Department came out with around 5 or 10 guys. FPL came out with 2 big trucks. I'd just like to know who pays this bill, and is it Atlantic Broadband's problem?
Oh, which association were you with that was having these issues?
Pardon me?
What was the name of your association that was having these
Canterbury
issues?
A. Canterbury A, Canterbury C, all the way down Kent Street. There was over 100 units that were out of power the other day. I don't know if you guys know about that or not. Right, John? I think you were out too, right? So who pays for all that?
Any damages done by the contractor, Atlantic Broadband, are paid for by Atlantic Broadband. This is not costing our unit owners a penny.
All right.
I don't really...
It doesn't come out of our budget, that's what I want.
Well, I understand. It's highly inconvenient. New Yorkers will remember the Con Ed signs while you're backed up in traffic. Dig we must for a better New York. There's going to be some damage. We're doing all the right things. We're calling locates. But if locates fails us, and they don't have the as-built, and they don't have the ability to detect these lines, there are going to be issues. We try. The CAM is running around pulling his hair out, trying to keep up with this. We do the best we can. All right. Any other questions for the treasurer? All right. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
And now, because we have no quorum, there will be no new business. Committee reports are, of course, contained in the package. I would like to, we have quite a few candidates here, and those of you who might want to hear what they have to say, Randall, I'm sorry.
Good morning, David. Am I under the impression that the Seacrest contract that was voted on and approved by the executive board
Yes.
is not considered in effect with the lack of quorum here?
I believe our bylaws would indicate that since it was passed by the executive board, it is in fact in effect.
All right, so I believe that announcement would be necessary for you to make.
Yes.
And should there have been a quorum here, we might have had a little discussion on the merits of the Seacrest
Of course.
contract, and maybe the reason why the executive board chose to pass it, and I was hoping that you would share that with us now.
That's fine. And since we did not have a quorum, as you indicate, sic transit Gloria Mundi.
Okay, and in English, that would mean you're going to share some highlights with us, right?
Right.
Excellent.
All right. Obviously, as always, any contract that UCO has is available, either electronically or hard copy at the UCO office. And that would include the Seacrest contract. I could have a bunch of people stand up here, but what's the point? We're not going to take a vote on this today. There are a lot of people involved on bids, past bids, and obviously officers committee and executive board. It may be of interest to you, you may not be aware, there's another division of Seacrest who's going to be handling this contract. And it's not Lenny Thompson and Diane Evans. It's a new group of people who I think will have in just to say a few words to you. All right.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, please. Tell us who you are.
Maureen Sullivan,
Hi.
Dorchester H. I've been asked by some people who are leaving for the season, when exactly will the broadband take over? Because they're concerned if they have to return their equipment, or do they want to make the decision to keep their Comcast equipment and not go back and fetch it again, and, and not have to go back and fetch it in
All
the
right.
fall?
Comcast will end their contractual relationship with us circa June 2019. I would not even consider turning in any Comcast equipment until you are up and running with Atlantic broadband content.
And that was when in 2019, what, February, did you say?
No. June 2019 is the end of the contract. It is my belief that as Atlantic Broadband moves across the village and wires everything up, they will be turning on content on those buildings that are fully wired up. There'll be no additional charge. This is just part of the process. Don't turn in anything. And don't worry, if you are a snowbird, you will have more than enough time when you come back to make an appointment with Atlantic Broadband for installation at no
Okay.
additional cost.
Okay, thank you.
All right? All right.
I'm back again. Comcast has wires coming into our units. Will Atlantic Broadband take those wires out and replace it with theirs?
all
Or
right.
will they leave those wires there?
The wires on your side of the demarcation line belong to you. It's very interesting. But what Atlantic Broadband is going to do, they're going to come in and test those wires. If those wires will not support signal strength needed for their system, they will indeed replace those wires. If those wires show a high enough signal strength, they will leave them right where they are.
So in essence, they will use Comcast, the wires that are in my unit. I have wires in my closet.
I understand.
They will use those wires if they can.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And those, by the way, again, once they're through the wall into your unit, that's your property. It doesn't belong to Comcast anymore.
I understand. That's after they install it.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't want to have them install it to the outside and not into my building.
No. Atlantic Broadband will do that part.
And if they have to replace the wire, they will take down the Comcast wire, so we
Yes.
don't have two wires.
No,
correct?
you won't.
Thank you. Is that in the contract?
No. All right.
Dave.
Contract really provides for 87 pairs of wires, Olga. Think logically for a minute, okay?
Dave,
Obviously, if the wires are no good, they will be replaced. Okay?
David, over here.
Yes, Jean.
I have a question. What about those people who have other services through Comcast and and then they take the wires out? I mean, how is that going to work?
Well, they'll only take the wires out.
No, but if Atlantic Broadband is using Comcast wiring inside of the building.
Right.
But you have other services with Comcast.
I gotcha.
How is that going to work?
Jean, I haven't the foggiest idea, but I can't imagine what services you might have that aren't provided for in the new contract free. High definition, HBO, so
But what about your Wi-Fi for your computer and so forth?
yes, Wi-Fi is optional.
That's right, and you have to pay for it. But suppose you want to keep your Comcast whatever's.
Oh, yes, you're
Then-
at full liberty to keep it, but you're going to pay Comcast retail rate then.
That's not the point.
which
The
is-
point is, what happens to those wires? Are they, I mean, if broadband says these wires are wonderful for our, you
Right.
know, then
And you say, I want to keep my Comcast service,
Then I can't.
Then the scenario that Olga raises, you just jumped into. You will have another set of wires.
okay, that's what I needed to
Right.
know. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There-
Olga.
In answer to your statement, nothing is obvious unless it's written in the contract.
Thank you, Olga. All right.
Hello,
Obviously, we're in good and welfare.
Edward.
Somebody
Richard
ahead of you?
Handelsman, Plymouth
Who was up
5.
first? Myron.
I'm just curious. Comcast contract expires June 2019. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
Let's say hypothetically that Atlantic Broadband.
A what?
Atlantic Broadband has not completed their work. What happens then with our service?
Yeah,
Is
okay.
Comcast going to shut us off or what?
It's-
What is the situation?
It's very nice to hypothesize on events whose probability is 25 sigmas out on the probability curve. The work will be done. They're well ahead of schedule now. All
You
right?
didn't answer my question.
Yes, that's the
My
answer to your question.
is what happens if Atlantic Broadband doesn't finish and Comcast is going to shut the service off?
But your
now, let me
hypothesis
finish.
is wrong.
Let me finish.
Of course.
Now, if Comcast is required, if we ask Comcast to furnish additional service, who's going to pay for that extra charge? You were supposed to put that in the contract, I think. Was
right.
that in the contract?
Folks, if anyone would like to organize their own town hall meeting and renegotiate the contract to dead air, be on your own, go ahead and do it.
And then that-
This is not a place to renegotiate the cable contract.
I want to know what happens.
Nothing
I'm not
happens because
negotiating.
your hypothesis is the null set. It isn't going to happen.
Oh, in other words, you guarantee Atlantic Broadband will be finished. Is that right?
Virtually, yes.
Okay, that's all I want to hear.
Thank you.